You pivot in the end of your book to talking about practical tools for humility or key practices. You offer 10. I'm not going to ask you to go through all 10. People can buy the book if they want all 10. No, but I would love to know just a couple, maybe 3 tools that you'd share with the audience to begin implementing to cultivate greater humility.
Yeah, I'll mention some really practical things. These come from the chapter that's just very practical. Just the first 2 chapters, I lay a gospel foundation, and then I'm just saying here's some specifics you can try to put to practice in your life. One of them is intentional gratitude. This is something I've done a video on. I've talked about. It's way more powerful than I realized. I started doing this several years ago, where when I'm driving or swimming, the 2 times, because I swim in a pool here, and then whenever I'm driving, I can't be distracted by anything. So I'll just start counting my blessings and articulating thanks to God for his blessings in my life. And the difference it made emotionally, I mean, it's just amazing. The glass is always half empty and half full, metaphorically speaking, and it's so easy to focus on the half empty. What gratitude does, intentional gratitude, it just focuses your mind and heart on the glass being half full, all these positive things in your life. I think in the book I use the metaphor: imagine that you're at a dinner party with 5 celebrities that are like your favorite actors, favorite musicians. Okay, imagine you just got to go to dinner with like the 5 famous people that you are most interested in getting to know. Think how privileged you'd feel. Think how honored you'd feel just to get to hang out with these people. And it's like, what am I even doing here? I just get to talk. I get to be here. I get to talk to these people. I get to know their personalities. This is so cool. Well, uh, what humility could do for us and intentional gratitude can do for us is to create something like that experience with every person we meet, with every circumstance we're in. They don't have to be celebrities to be amazing people that we're privileged to be around. The fact is that everyone is made in God's image. Every tree is a miracle that God has created. Every star is a miracle that God created. Every corner of this world is a wonder. And it's such a joyful thing to walk into any circumstance you're in and think, I'm so grateful. How blessed am I that I get to be here? And I know that can seem, it might even seem extreme, but boy, if you start to practice that and make that a habit, it's amazing how it changes your life. It changed my life way more than I expected. A second one I'll say is not running away from situations that are vulnerable. So I'll be vulnerable myself and say an example for this for me as a parent is when my kids are disobeying me in public. And, this is one of those, people will understand who've been through this, parents. It's humbling. There's a kind of vulnerability and kind of like, oh man, this is challenging, because you're having to do something in front of other people and try to especially when you're the pastor of the church and it's at church. This can be very challenging. So there's something humbling about not hiding from those kind of situations. We talked about if you're an introvert going to a social event, those doing something that you're not very good at, it's easy to just avoid situations that feel vulnerable to you. But I think it's wonderful to be able to say, this is hard for me, or this is vulnerable, or this is not easy, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And that's okay. I don't need to always be at my best. And I think over time, if you cultivate the habit of embracing the vulnerable moments of life, it's kind of nourishing for you and it kind of helps keep things in stride. Last thing I'll mention is just a very practical, simple one that's a lot of fun. Look at the stars, study the stars. Go out at night. I live in Ojai, California, where there's very little air pollution, and we got a trampoline for our kids this past summer. And so many evenings I would go out, and after they get down, I would just take 15 minutes, but sometimes it stretched into a full hour to just look at the stars and kind of process my day and slow down. Because what I found is I'm spending so much time on my phone, on my computer, and something about staring at a screen is not healthy when it's like all you're doing. And there's something about just the beauty of it, but also just that wonderful feeling of remembering how small you are, which is again a happy feeling in some ways. And just seeing, it's an interesting thing to think about is how much is this simple. For the ancients, you'd see the stars every night, you'd sleep under them. It's just this reminder every night that we're tiny, external reality is huge. When we're staring at our screens all the time, it's almost the opposite. It makes the world seem so small because I can talk to someone across the world, So just that discipline of, and I suppose the stars, you could branch that out to just nature in general. But just simple things like that can remind us of how big external reality is. And it seems like a small thing, but little things like that can make a difference.